Good evening, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is a special edition, Cinco de Mayo, when I have an opportunity to bring in someone to talk actual sports and numbers. I bring Dave Sharapan on, and now we bring in Mr. Jeff Benson, the sports manager director of the Mecca itself, of Circa Sports, to give us a few minutes of what the last 6 weeks has been all about and what he's got going on this weekend. What a big week he's had on Twitter, now known as the Meme King. So let's bring him on, the one and only Mr. Jeffrey Benson.
Thanks for the warm welcome, Jeff. Certainly looking forward to talking what we have upcoming and then kind of how we got to this point. But thanks for the warm welcome and certainly looking forward to talking today.
Well, the last time you and I spoke, myself and Dave Sharapan were walking into the Circa. I hope you remember this. You were walking out. I think you were grabbing lunch, and you just got hit not once, not twice, but 3 times for 60 dimes on St. Pete's +9, +9, +8.5, +8. Do you remember that?
Yeah, absolutely. For us, we're a sports book that's in the business to take bets. And, I think obviously I've been very outspoken on Twitter about some of my thoughts and feelings on the industry and how other quote unquote sports books approach taking bets. For us, we may not have the biggest menu in the world, but anything we put on our board, whether it's Kentucky Derby, NFL Draft, or college basketball, we want to take a fair bet too. And for those, players who are non-recreational, who are sharp, who do have trouble getting down and are looking, to bet big and fill, large positions, Circa Sports, I would say is, maybe the sports book for those players. We welcome winners. And the goal when we opened the door was to write bets. And that's what we intend to do. So, certainly a lot of action that comes across the counter and on the mobile app. And obviously, working for a CEO and an owner like Derek Stevens and our director, Matt Metcalf, we're pretty aggressive when it comes to these limits and the sizes of bets we take.
And I have to say, I'm privileged and honored not just to have met you once, but numerous times. Every time we come in there, you come running over, we find you, we shake each other's hands, we talk about exactly what you're doing. I mean, if you haven't been to Circa, it's a must when you go to Vegas. And for anyone in our lanes, it's the cathedral. I call it the Mecca. The 2 weeks that I was out there, talking to Derek, we were able to be upstairs with him, speaking. I think Mitch, Pauly, and Matt Yeomans were all there on the first night we were there. Then the second night, Tim Murray, after a show, we go upstairs, have food and beverage there, talking about the March Madness. And then as we were trying to get you on the show, you was like, Jeff, I got the NFL draft coming. Can you give me another week? Talk about the week after. Well, March Madness is done, and now you're leading up to the week of the NFL draft. Not an easy spot to be in. It's one of these that, as Derek and everyone else says in the business, you got to cringe and you're going to get hit. How'd the draft go, Jeff?
Yeah, for us it was a small winner. Albert, we only had the draft up for 3 days. We booked it the week of. We did 32 over under draft positions with dime limits, and you could rebet as many times as you want. We didn't have maybe the deepest menu in the world, and we didn't have it up the longest, but we did what we felt was prudent, for our shop. We wanted to give players a fair whack at it. And we were obviously honest and transparent about what we were going to do, how long they were going to be up, and kind of went from there. But to your point, it's certainly a hard event to make numbers for. It's an even harder event to book, and it's certainly something as odds makers and bookmakers and as a sports book that you don't go into it thinking you're gonna make money. Traditionally it's going to be a loss leader, and obviously with the draft being in town this year, we certainly felt it was important to get something on the board. So we were happy with the 32 over under positions we put up. Obviously, in a market like this, you're not going to have a ton of recreational players. It's going to be more professional guys and guys like yourself, and it's something where it's an event that's not played on the field. It's played in some of these subreddits and Twitter threads and podcasts and information sound bites from some of these scouts and coaches. And it's a race between the bookie and the bettor to get to that information as quickly as possible. And I'd say it's probably a little bit different than an NFL game where you take a bet, and you're not probably going to be as aggressive with your moves. But when you're taking a dime bet, for somebody who you do know or you don't know, you're certainly going to be aggressive with your moves. A lot of times you may scalp yourself. But you're really just trying to get to the right number as quick as possible, and find two-way on both sides, because obviously if you're just getting one way on a lot of these props, it's going to be pretty darn hard to win. So, like I said, Chris Bennett, he's our sportsbook manager. He did a fantastic job booking the draft. And it was, a fun exercise and experiment to work with him, and, to be a part of that. And obviously watching the bets come in, and our players react to the news was certainly great. But yeah, it's definitely nice to put that behind us and move into the NHL and NBA playoffs. And then obviously this weekend going to be a really great weekend here in Las Vegas, particularly on the Strip in downtown Las Vegas. Obviously you got the Canelo fight, a big UFC card, and then obviously it's Kentucky Derby Saturday. So it'll be the best 2 minutes in sports, and certainly a weekend we're looking forward to from a number of different perspectives.
So let's get into this week. The fact that now your NHL playoffs are in full swing. The NBA playoffs are in swing. Dark tonight. They'll be back for this weekend. The Kentucky Derby. And then obviously you said the UFC card. And then the Canelo fight also in Vegas. Kentucky Derby. Tough spot. 20 horses, only one winner. You talked about off the air, the pari-mutuel versus the odds right now that you have on the app. Can you give us what goes on behind the scenes as you're getting ready right now for the Derby?
Yeah, absolutely. First I'll walk your listeners through kind of what the options they'll have in terms of betting here at Circa Sports. At all 5 of our locations, the Tuscany, the Pass, the Golden Gate, the D, and then obviously the world's largest sports book here at Circa, you'll have the ability to bet fixed odds. So obviously it's a little different than the pari-mutuel pool. What you get on your ticket at the time you make your wager is what you'll have when the horse goes into the gate, and that won't change. We have yes, nos. So if you want to fade, one of the favorites, whether that's Tabia, Zandon, Messier, one of the top horses, you can also bet, a horse not to win the Derby. And then sometime probably Friday around 10 a.m., we'll put out 20 Derby matchups in which you can bet horse A versus horse B, which is another fun option. So those will be kind of the bets that we're booking in-house. And then obviously you mentioned pari-mutuel. Certainly exciting from all sportsbooks' point of view that contract between Churchill and the Nevada Pari-Mutuel Association has been signed, meaning that all books will be able to offer pari-mutuel this year, which they haven't been able to do in the last couple of years. So here at Circa, where we have our pari-mutuel license, We will book the entire card at Churchill on Friday and Saturday with full track odds, all of the exotics, whether that's exactas, trifectas, superfectas. We'll be showing the race on the track feed from Churchill. So we're certainly excited about that. Doesn't look like the weather is going to be great. Looks like it's probably going to be a pretty sloppy race, where some of the mudders have the possibility of doing well. We're certainly excited, for that portion of the weekend to be able to, book it pari-mutually and then offer fixed odds and matchup is certainly something we're excited about giving to our players.
It's Thursday. Obviously, we have a couple days to go before the Run for the Roses. You talked about the weather. A lot of the sharper people will be waiting to see just how much rain they get on Friday and what the track obviously looks like leading up to post time on Saturday. Inside looking out, what seems to be the popular name out there, or is there like a sleeper that some of the sharps in Vegas are talking about already?
For us, obviously, we've had our Derby pool up for a long time. And obviously, you can go onto the Circus Sports app and kind of see where these horses sit. But for us, it's, certainly something that we're excited about. And, I think when you look at it, there's a bunch of different horses, you can make a case for. And, I think you've seen a lot of Wise Guy play on a lot of different ones. And it really just comes down to the numbers. And then obviously looking at the weather to, factor in, some of these 3-year-old horses and whether you think they can run in the mud or not. What I would tell you, I don't necessarily have a horse that I like just yet. I haven't really dug into it too much. Paul Zilm, he's one of our risk supervisors. He does the entirety of our horse racing menu. Does a fantastic job. I would just say shop around. And if you do like a horse, maybe playing into our fixed odds and being able to get a number on a horse that you think may be shorter come Derby Day would be kind of my best approach and advice. When you look at the Churchill morning line, the theoretical hold is a little north of 27%. And when you look at our theoretical hold on our fixed odds, it's currently 15%. So when you look at our odds versus the track odds, you're probably going to get, quite a bit better odds on the horse you're looking for, given that the theoretical hold at Churchill is nearly double what we're offering right now. So I would say shop around, look at some of these places that have fixed odds. You can pick off a few horses here and there at some of these books that maybe have a negative opinion of that horse. And then when, the horses are loading into the gate come Saturday, and Churchill has a much lower line into the pari-mutuel pool, you can look at your ticket and feel pretty good about the value you got on whatever horse you're looking at if you shop around and, do your homework that way.
Okay, in the last couple minutes as we wrap up, because I know you have to head off for a meeting, you've been very, very busy on Twitter this week. Actually, a lot of people have now titled you the Mem King. You guys couldn't run a straighter, more sharper book. And we know a lot of the stuff that's going on at the other books. They don't want the winners. They're looking for the D-gens of the world, and they offer all these crazy props to get you in. And then next thing you know, instead of being able to place a couple $100 on a game, you're stuck down to like $16 a game. Tell us where you are today and what you guys do versus, I'm going to use the word, the shenanigans that's really going on to most of the other books in across the country and offshore.
Yeah, obviously there's, pretty heavy debate in the industry, sharp book versus soft book model, sports betting as entertainment versus sports betting as not entertainment. Our director, Matt Metcalf, said it best. He hasn't looked at sports betting as entertainment since he was 12 years old. I think providing a fair, honest, transparent marketplace in which all players are able to play, yourself included, the other professional gamblers of the world, and not being able to pick and choose who gets to play is something that I think is, important to what we're doing. We may not have the biggest menu or the deepest menu in the world, and that's certainly something, we're looking to build upon every day. But for us, anything we put on our board, whether it's Kentucky Derby matchups, NFL draft props, or just regular game markets, things of that nature, we want to take a fair bet to. There's nothing more frustrating than walking into a book, thinking you're going to get X and ultimately getting Y. Being able to know at all times what you can get on any given market, I think is certainly something that sets us aside, in addition to, what we're doing to try to make the bookie better relationship, not as adversarial, and try to make it the best customer experience possible. So, I think a lot of people maybe beat their chest and, say we have the world's deepest prop menu in the world, or this, that, and the other. But, ultimately, when you only take $25 on it, it's more or less, window dressing and sports betting for decoration. So, for us, we try to maybe cater a little bit more to, the professional or non-recreational bettor, in addition to obviously the recreational bettor as well. We're very vocal about what we're doing. We feel very passionate about what we're doing. And I think when any gambler gets into the business, whether they're, a professional or not, the goal is, to win money. And here at Circa Sports, we accept winners. We understand it's a part of the business. And it's just, when we opened our doors, we intended to take bets, and that's what we're doing. So, I tweeted out earlier today, if you don't write bets, you can't win money. I think there's a lot of sports books in the industry now that are very risk averse, and they're not really in the writing bets business. And that's not, that runs corollary to what we do here. So, we welcome any and all action. We're trying to get people down as much as they're looking for with regard to what we can handle. And, we're guys who bet ourselves. And I think as guys who bet ourselves, we're trying to put, those thoughts and feelings into the product, and certainly make it the best experience possible for players. That's not to say we're not perfect and we don't get things wrong, because we certainly do. And the goal, obviously, every day is to continue to increase the menu and continue to increase the limits.
And speaking of You Bet Too, there's a nice little video. Sean King, good friend of mine, came on to our show actually about 6 weeks ago, but he was on the air, I think it was with Tim Murray, and I think they went to break, and they had a picture of him running down to the window to place a wager, which I thought was fantastic. One last question, Jeff. I got the Circa Millions 3 hat. I know you guys are waiting for the NFL schedule to be released. Any time, do you have a basic time when you'll be releasing this year's contest?
Yeah, certainly worked quite a bit with Mr. Palm and Derek Stevens, and obviously the mantra is always bigger and better. So I have a few fun and exciting kind of wrinkles this year, and twists and things up our sleeve. But I would anticipate we would continue to put the foot on the gas pedal and press forward. Once the NFL releases the schedule May 12th, it'll take myself and our team, probably 3, 4, 5 days to finalize the official rules, tie up all the loose ends, and then kind of kick things off in terms of contest season. So I would say signups will start mid to late May. Follow along on the Circa Sports Twitter, my Twitter at Jeffrey Benson 12. We'll highlight to bettors when that sign up period starts. What the guarantees are, and everything new this year. And we certainly look to begin signups here shortly, and get everyone back out to Vegas, experience what we're doing this summer, and then kind of kick things off for what we think is going to be another fantastic football season.
Jeffrey Benson at Jeffrey Benson 12 at Circa Sports. We can't thank you enough here at ECSI, and absolutely the Mecca of sports books, the king. If you haven't been down there, head down to Fremont Street, go say hi to Jeffrey, Derek, and the boys, and they will gladly I repeat, gladly take any wager that you have. So that's it from Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, Jeffrey Benson at Jeffrey Benson 12 and Circus Sports. We can't thank you guys enough for watching and listening, and we will see you soon.